Welcome to the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast presented by Pointsbet. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. And remember, with that $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership that unlocks all of our great web content, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO Locker. $2,000 in free bets, a free CHGO membership, and a free t-shirt from the CHGO Locker. All that for making a $50 or more first-time deposit at PointsBet. How's it going? I'm Jay Zawoski with Greg Boyson and Mario Tirabassi. Good morning, fellas. Good to see you from a distance. I like seeing you in person better, but you know, this is fine.
How's the old framing going there, Jay?
Not great. It's been it's something I hadn't really considered. For those that don't know, I'm trying to frame my Blackhawks jersey. I tweeted out a photo, and I realized when all your jerseys are XX, you might need a bigger frame than most people get. So I have a friend who used to work at Michael's, and I'm going to see if she can make it look a little more presentable. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not like,
right.
But
yeah.
I'd like it to look a little better than it does. That would be helpful.
Yeah.
You can always reach out to our guy, Joey Z. Framing is his passion.
Oh, that's good to know.
I have never met anybody who enjoys framing as much as our guy, Joey Z, with the Rockford Ice Hogs. So
do I have to bring it to Rockford?
I don't know. Maybe he can, there it is. Maybe he could.
There we are.
Could give you some FaceTime pointers on how to line everything up. I don't know, but
no. Here, the problem is anything that requires precision. Forget it. You can give me all the pointers in the world. That's fine.
I'm so bad at DIY stuff.
Yeah, I can't. Even framing a photo, like not framing, like mounting a photo, like normal, like a framed picture,
just a picture frame.
No, it's anything that requires any sort of precision or measuring or cutting or anything, pinning. I'm out. I was hoping that this would kind of work like the one we have in the studio, the CHGO jersey we have in the studio. That's basically just on a hanger, which is what this is, but it's just the jersey's too big. So I'm going to see if my friend can salvage it. I might just have to order a bigger frame. So we'll see. But
coming soon, a jersey frame raffle on CHGO Blackhawks. Just the frame.
Just the frame. Those in need of a frame.
Skilled labor is not my thing either. I am the most unhandy person in the world. I am a service contractor's dream. If something needs fixed, I pick up the phone and pay somebody to do it for me because I want it done right the first time.
Yeah, well, hopefully
all these people they watch these YouTube videos. Oh, in 3 minutes, I learned how to change my water heater. F that. I'm calling somebody and I'll pay them to do it.
I'm jumping in here because I totally agree. These hands aren't this smooth for because I work at the house. However, I actually just swapped out my kitchen faucet on Sunday, and I'm pretty damn proud of myself.
It works. Like stuff like that, though, where like the whole. See, here's the thing. I can do stuff like that. If the hole's already cut, if I'm replacing something that's already there, that I can do. But if I needed to like drill a hole into a marble top or a granite countertop, oh my God, hell no.
Yeah.
No, like I can fix the carburetor on my lawnmower because all I do is you undo one screw and then you basically just clean it. Like I can do that.
You said carburetor in my face, just like
I don't know how it works. I just know how to clean it.
I feel like a man when I change out the toilet seat. That's when I feel like, oh, I'm so powerful. Yeah, that's about the best I could do.
Yeah, I just had to take care of the old toilet seat there.
Oh, change those wiper blades on the car. Oh yeah, call me a grease monkey. Yeah,
only took 3 hours, but I got it done. Yeah. No, it's. I was hoping it would be easier because I saw the CHGO jersey in the studio. I'm like, all right, that looks pretty straightforward.
See if I can figure that out. I'm gonna try and show that off. Like, I'll be.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Don't break it. Don't drop it.
Anyway, So the show will not be about jersey framing. That's not, and I know it is August 11th, but there is actually more to get to. We're going to do Throwback Thursday today. We're going to talk about Tony Esposito, who passed away 1 year ago yesterday. We're not going to be all bummed out about it. We're going to talk about how great he was and how important he is to this franchise, because he is one of their all-time leaders in every category that counts for goalies. And a hell of a guy that everybody loved. I think everybody's got a Tony O story. I was entertained by your story, Mario, about when you found out he passed and where you were when that happened, which is pretty funny. We've got a little bit of Blackhawks news first. Mario, you discovered this, and I know that I don't know if Lawrence is back from stealing a jersey yet, but Caleb Jones's mother, Amy, tweeted out, "Congrats to Caleb on signing his 1 year deal with the Blackhawks." So that's a pretty good source, I would say.
I would think so. Yeah,
she's got some inside information. I'd say that's some
step
above a source, might actually be a real source.
Yeah. Some other information on her Twitter is not as interesting, but
it's a protected account. I mean, if
why
if you follow her and she follows you, all the best to you and to her.
Yes, she's passionate about her hockey playing sons, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, she is. So I mean, if the Blackhawks have said nothing about Caleb Jones having his deal done, I mean, there's no reason to believe it won't happen. Obviously, he has the qualifying offer, him and Philip Kurashev. We're just kind of waiting on that to be officially done. It's not like we're, trying to figure out arbitration settlements or whatever. Like, it's two guys that are just going to get, a couple hundred, close to $1 million, probably less, I'm sure. 1 year deals, nothing huge. But yeah, I mean, it seems like that would be the information source where you could say, I think that's going to happen.
I don't think
we'll see what the official thing is.
She didn't tweet. She wasn't like Kevin Weeks and tweet it like from a bathroom or anything like that.
Yeah, no. There's the screenshot of the tweet.
1 year deal.
Yeah, 1 year deal. Whenever this was screenshotted, this was an hour, so this isn't an old tweet. It's not, I don't think anyone's trying to fake news Caleb Jones's RFA deal. But if they are, I mean, find a hobby, maybe pick up framing or something. But
help me out.
But we'll
Speaking of framing, guys, I set the camera up for you.
That's our favorite player.
Yeah.
Yeah,
number 22. Number 22 in your playbooks. Number 1 in our hearts.
Look at that thing. It's gorgeous.
See, that one worked out good. I don't know. It's just a smaller jersey. I got to see what size that one is.
I'm sure.
Dave CHGO, Blackhawks great.
I mean, it's definitely one of the newer ones, where they're more form fitting.
Yeah. It's an Adidas.
And speaking of jerseys, I think we owe somebody an apology after yesterday's episode when we put up the screenshot of the Germany jersey. If you were watching along, and the last name said blank, and we were all like making fun, thinking that was just like what they put on their generic jersey, and you can add your name here. But then it turns out there's really a guy named Alexander Blanc.
He's real and he's spectacular,
and he played pretty good. And he's a 20-year-old.
Good for him.
Yeah, undrafted. So maybe the Blackhawks need to add some Blanc to their lineup here. But I apologize to young Mr. Blanc. He is a real person. That was his jersey,
and he scored a hat trick. So that's how we found out. I was like, in
our faces.
I was like, Germany blank hat trick. What? And I saw the video and I was like, number 24. Oh no.
I hope that our fans can forgive us for not knowing every player on the roster for Team Germany.
If there's no Lucas Reichel, I didn't look at the roster. So sorry.
Yeah. And speaking of the World Junior Championships, another very poorly attended
a hot crowd.
According to Ian Kennedy, 2,799 people. That's the biggest crowd so far. We're on hand for the Canada and Latvia game. And pictures look like an empty arena, as you'd expect. And we
sure does
spent a lot of time talking about this on yesterday's show and sort of how it's a bit of an issue and how some ways they can fix it. But I think we speculated a little bit yesterday saying, hey, maybe it's just because Canada wasn't playing that day, and it's the first day, and people aren't really intrigued in these matchups. And I guess we could roll that thought over into, well, it's Latvia, it's the round robin round, and hopefully when you get into the tournament rounds, it gets a little more populated, and it will. But boy, this is, I think if you were to ask, IIHF officials what they were expecting attendance wise, they would be, pretty disappointed.
Yeah,
and
this is a failure.
Yes.
This is an epic failure.
Not good.
Well, Mario, you point out, you looked up that they're charging $70 a game, Canadian dollars. I mean,
I think it was the same Stephen Ellis here earlier in the day put out a screen cap of whatever website is selling tickets, and you could see all the empty seats, and the cheapest ticket on that site was $70, which I assume is the primary market, not a secondary market thing, but $70.
Yeah,
like how are you not just on the street corners being like, hey, Canada, Latvia, here's your ticket.
Yeah.
Like,
come sit on the side with the cameras and at least make it look full. I mean,
holy
sports
sheesh.
teams have done that forever. When they're now, if it's $70 to get you that seat for like the entire day, all 3 games, then okay, that's a good deal. But if it's just for one game,
if you were to do like a preliminary round, like Game Pass for like $150,
buy your seat for the entire
week, do it.
I don't know. It's pretty.
Yeah, I'm looking at his tweet, and it says tons of tickets are available for the Canada Latvia game.
Yeah.
So this looks like one game, and we could verify this, but this looks like the price for one game.
If the cheapest ticket is $70 to see a preliminary game at the World Juniors, that's a big reason why your stadium is freaking empty. Like, get over yourselves. Like, this isn't.
The night game had like 12 people.
12 people. Yeah, at pregame warmups, there was a tweet. Somebody tweeted out where he literally counted 12 people in the stands for that, and so 12 people saw the Alexander Blanc hat trick last night. 4 people for each goal. It's pathetic. It's really pathetic. So maybe like don't host this tournament in Edmonton ever again, because obviously they don't care. I mean, there are a lot of factors.
Yeah,
I know it's August. It's not the real tournament. Blah blah blah. All these things, but maybe I guarantee you, if this tournament was being played in Minnesota, you'd have 2,700.
I think it'd be different
minimum at every game.
It might not be a sellout, but it's not going to look like
you'd have more than 12 freaking people.
Yes,
I can guarantee you that.
Sure,
exactly. And I think that the 12 people thing maybe leads to the idea that you have to buy tickets for each individual game.
Probably.
Yeah.
Here,
I mean, when you have
more to get
more
into all 3 is how you do it. I mean,
when you have more popcorn vendors than people in the seats, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Imagine being one of the ushers and someone shows you their ticket that they go and sit at their seat, and then they move closer to the glass and you're like, hey, back in your seat.
They've got to do it like the WWE shows where they just populate
put everybody on the camera
facing.
side.
Put them on the camera side. Yeah. Wow. Look at all these fans.
It's sold out.
Yeah.
Nope.
I mean, I know this isn't a money.
Yeah, there it is.
I mean, it's not necessarily
12
a money
people in the
making
crowd.
thing,
Holy
but
crap.
like, I know the main goal of the World Juniors is not to make money like an NHL game, but
I mean,
this is the disaster at this point.
But
it's 2 days in.
But you don't hold this tournament at a loss,
Right. Well, this is a major loss.
This one you're going to.
This is a major loss. They're taking a bath on this one.
Mm-hmm.
So here's an idea: stop holding it in NHL arenas. Maybe give it to some cities around the world that would actually care about it, because they don't get it every other year.
Right.
And then maybe not have a bunch of scandals too that turn.
That's
a weird one. I mean, I know that
we got a comment here from our friend Narfin26 here. Is it a possibility that people might be boycotting the games because of what's going on with Hockey Canada? That's a legitimate question.
A factor.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a factor. I mean, if I was the father of a young woman who was a hockey fan, I wouldn't give Hockey Canada my money right now. I wouldn't support them. I'm sure that is a fact. It is a contributing factor. I think there's 10 to 12 contributing factors that are all making this into a pretty embarrassing turnout.
Just like there were 10 to 12 people in the crowd. I liked a different one of Steven's tweets last night. Where is it? Let me see if I can grab that for you. Here it is. Look at that.
Yes, yeah.
He does that all the time.
He-
He's really
that's
good
his.
for that.
That's
Yeah.
a shtick from Steven that
Well-
he does. He doesn't do the. He doesn't have the broadcast rights, so
You know that's
That's a hell of a
Pretty
splits
accurate.
by the goalie, though.
yeah.
It is.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
impressive.
Kid's
but
got
yeah,
some massive
as
legs.
No Roy's just rage said. Hopefully, I'll watch Bedard light it up last night. And I think
Future
that's-
Chicago Blackhawks legend.
That's
Connor
why
Bedard.
we're watching. Maybe we're not
He-
there, but
He got it. He got it started.
I want to go back to Nerfin's comment about people boycotting because of the
Boycott, yeah.
controversies. I do think that, like Greg said, you know, if you had a daughter or whatever, you wouldn't want to give your money to Hockey Canada. I wouldn't either. But we are very familiar with how little how little people do care about these things in the periphery. They're like, I'm going to a hockey game. I don't care. I don't want to hear about the other stuff. I use hockey as an
Sports
escape.
is my escape. Yeah.
Whatever. Innocent. And then there's the people that are even more bullish about it, like innocent proven guilty, boys will be boys, yada, yada, yada. I don't think that, yes, it's one of the many factors probably, but I think if that was the only factor, you'd be seeing a pretty populated World Junior Championships, because I think most people, I keep saying most, I don't want to say most, but I think a good portion of people just don't care. They just don't care. They can separate what happened in 2008 and whatever else and just say, I'm going to go watch some hockey.
Yeah, I mean, I think
18th,
that.
Sorry, not 08.
Yeah, well, and 2003.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I get what you're saying, but I would say, like, you know, from what we've seen of the coverage of this story and whatnot, it is an ongoing story in Canada as these games are going on. So I don't. Rick Westhead was on the TSN broadcast talking about everything going on, and then leading into, and the games are being played. So I think the whole story is still pretty front and center, and I think in Canada, especially because it's the Canadian government is being involved in all of this. I think there is probably some still, you know, significant care being shown for this story, and I agree it's not necessarily the main factor for why these games are not well attended, but I definitely think it is a contributing factor to it. And I would say, as far as what I can tell from Canadian response to the story, is that it is rather significant, which is deserving of that kind of response for what the story is.
Yeah,
Oh,
I hope it's a big factor. I really do.
Yeah, that would be wonderful if it was.
It's long overdue that you would see some actual out. And your best way to show your outrage at anything is to not give it money. Is to stop paying attention and stop providing it with funds. That's the best way to show your outrage.
And you watch.
I hope it is the biggest reason that the stadium is empty. But
and you watch the games. A lot of the sponsors are not on the ice, not on the boards. So. Yeah.
That's the other thing too, is if you're trying to sell this, you know, you're trying to get sponsors for the December tournament and they're watching these games, like no one's watching this. There's 12 people in the building,
which is also in Canada.
Yeah. Like, why would we put our money towards this? That's why it's real bad that it's going this poorly. And again, maybe with the tournament rounds in Canada looking to medal, it will pop up, and you can see the boards there on Kevin McGrann's tweet. Literally no ads on the boards.
Yeah, it's just the logo of the tournament. That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy to think about, just to see in this day and age. Not a single sponsor on a hockey rink board in a major in an NHL arena. It's pretty nuts.
Can we make a call and see what it would cost to get a CHGO Blackhawks or CHGO Sports logo on the boards?
I'll get right on that. Yeah, that's
probably like $9 Canadian at this point. They'll take any money.
Oh, that's good.
They'll just give us some free tickets.
I got $25 to donate to the cause.
We could probably buy the entire sponsorship package with the money that's in the "He Who Shall Not Be Named" jar right now.
That's a good point.
Yeah, good call.
Stan Bowman. There, I just put another buck in there.
Now we got
team.
Now we got jersey patches.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. See, I'm a team guy. No, you can't question that.
But are you though? Because you're not actually here.
Oh no, I won't forget. We're gonna make him throw that $1 in Monday morning. No doubt.
I just said it again too. So $2.
Setting up a Venmo account for the can.
All right, well, I'm going to start making my money back here, and I know the best way for me to do that is with the PointsBet app. I'm going to download it. Well, I already did like months ago, and when I did, I used the code CHGO, and I got 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Then I went ahead and I made a $50 first-time deposit, and I got a free CHGO membership and a free shirt of the place where I work. It's outstanding. You can do all these things too. You don't have to be a CHGO employee to get these deals. Download the PointsBet app, use the code CHGO. You'll get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000, and that $50 or more first-time deposit gets you that free CHGO membership. Another free bet dropped yesterday after the show, $5 free. I put $5 on Notre Dame to win the national championship because why not? It's free money, and they've got a decent shot. So
not when you
go.
use Notre Dame. That's not free money.
$5 power.
Tony, don't get me started on this. They've been in the BCS Final Four. What, BCS, like 3 times,
sure.
4 times?
The BCS.
Yeah, that's 2011. Cool.
But you know what I mean.
Take your college football information from Jay Zawoski.
The college football playoff. They've been in
BCS
many times.
They have.
They tickets.
Yeah. How's it gone for them though?
They've lost to Alabama and Clemson. Join the freaking club. They've done what everybody does. At least they got there.
Hey, they're Chicago's Big Ten team.
Well, they're not in the Big Ten, but yes, that's true. They are Chicago.
In hockey, they are, and that's all that matters.
That's all that matters on this show.
They are Chicago's team, as much as other teams don't want to admit that. They sure as hell are. Because guess what?
They're not my team.
There are people that live south of Roosevelt. It's true. People live south of Roosevelt.
Sometimes.
They call themselves Chicagoans. Exactly. Anyway, bet along. Look for those free bets. Make sure you got those emails subscribed. Make sure they're not going to your spam folder because they will alert you. Hey, this hour, you've got a $5 free bet.
They will tell you.
Yep. Keep abreast of that on the PointsBet app. Download it. Use the code CHGO. It is time to elevate your live betting game. Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services. And
we're also brought to you by our friends at Athletic Greens. Proud are the Athletic Greens people of their AG1 formula. What is that? Well, I'll tell you. It's a formula designed to improve your gut health, optimize your immune system, and give you more natural energy. In just 1 scoop of AG1, you are absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help start your day right. And if you eat if you have different dietary restrictions or eat a keto diet, paleo, vegan, whatever it is, if you're gluten-free or dairy-free, with AG1, you're good to go. You can incorporate it into your life no matter how busy you might be. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop of AG1 in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy on you guys, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase when you go to athleticgreens.com/CHGO Blackhawks. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/CHGO Blackhawks to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
All right. So yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of the passing of Tony Esposito, one of the all-time Blackhawk greats, as we know, one of the retired numbers, number 35, up there in the rafters for all of eternity for the Chicago Blackhawks. And this being Throwback Thursday, I think it makes a lot of sense to talk about Tony Esposito. I found a book in my little library here, and I'm going to read from it.
Book?
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen that book before.
Is that in frame? Okay, good. He won the Calder Trophy in 1970. After posting a league-leading 15 shutouts, that's still an NHL record, a 2.17 goals against average, and an NHL best 932 save percentage. He's a 3-time winner of the Vezina Trophy, given to the NHL goaltender, adjudged to be best at his position. 6-time All-Star. Jersey retired, and in 1997 was named to the NHL's top 100 players of all time list. He is the Blackhawks' all-time leader in wins, 418, shutouts, 74, and games played for a goalie, 873, and he is a Hockey Hall of Famer as of 1998. According to Robert Marvin Hull, Tony was the backbone of our team. He won many games for us.
There you go.
Yeah, there's the ISBN number if you're curious. This book.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a copy of that book. And
$22 in Canada. Wow.
I've got a copy of that book, and I'm hoping one day to meet the author to sign it for me. That'd be kind of a cool addition to my library. But
we'll see if he's around.
Yeah,
I heard he's hard. I heard he's hard to get a hold of.
I don't have good sources on how to make that happen.
Yeah, so for those that weren't watching on the internet, the book I was holding up is The Big 50 Chicago Blackhawks by me, Jay Zawoski, and forward by Dave Boland. Available wherever fine books are sold via Triumph Books. So there you go.
Good stuff.
And if you want one, email me and I'll send you a signed one.
Hey, that's nice.
Is that all I had to do?
Well, you got to pay for it.
Oh, minor detail.
Yeah.
Anyway, Tony Esposito. Yes, that guy. Yeah, he was about as good as it gets as far as NHL goaltending. And the fun part was that the Blackhawks literally got him for nothing. He actually played a handful of games with the hated Montreal Canadiens. And then the Blackhawks got him in the 1969 NHL Interleague draft, which was, yes, very nice year for an interleague draft. The interleague draft was kind of like what waivers are today. It's essentially the same thing where teams had to leave certain players unprotected, and then they had an actual draft in order of like how worst team from the previous year goes first. They could pick any one of these unprotected players, and they did that every year until like the mid 70s, I want to say.
And this was back when there was only like 10 teams, right?
12 teams at this point.
12.
Yeah, this was 2 years after the major expansion. So the Hawks had the second pick in that draft, and they took Tony Esposito from the Montreal Canadiens. Now, don't feel too bad for the Canadiens. Even though the Canadiens went third, and they picked a goalie named Jack Norris from the Blackhawks. I think the Hawks won that deal. But don't feel too bad for the Canadiens, because the reason they left a talented young goalie like Tony Esposito unprotected was because they had a young goalie of their own named Ken Dryden, who last time I checked was pretty darn good too.
Yeah.
Beat the Hawks and Esposito in 2 Stanley Cup finals during the 70s, Hall of Famer himself. So you can kind of compare that a little bit to what we talked about the other day when the Hawks had Ed Belfour and Dominic Hasek together. Like there's only one net. And especially back in 1969, your starter pretty much played every game. Like it wasn't today where you need 2 goalies to get through a whole season. Your goalie, if he didn't play every game, it was because he was hurt. So there was no reason to keep him around. So a big, one of the few best transactions the Hawks ever made was making that pick. And as you mentioned, 15 shutouts in his rookie season. I mean,
That's incredible.
There's like great goaltenders throughout the ages that didn't have 15 shutouts their entire career. And he did it as a rookie in 1 season. That's a record I don't think it's ever going to get broken. I don't see that one coming down. Not in this day and age. For rookie goaltenders to be that dominant, I just don't see that happening.
I feel like nowadays, if a goalie, not a rookie or veteran, if they get like 6 or 7 in a season, it's like, wow, like that's impressive. To get 15,
not to mention the era in which he played.
Yeah,
like you see the highlights and the goalies are like, maybe if I throw my arms up and jump, I'll stop the goal. Like there was just
the nets were as big as soccer nets back then, like, and they had no pads. Like,
how did I not stop that? I just fell backwards hoping it would hit me.
Right.
And you know, one of the early innovators of the butterfly, along with Tretiak and Jacques Plante. Those are like Tony O, and those two are kind of the first 3 that are really credited with playing the butterfly style, which led to, I mean, that's still the most popular style of goaltending used today. And it's a reason that he had such dominant numbers as a goalie when a lot of his, what do you call it? Contemporaries did not, you know. Yeah. The thing I loved about Tony O too was that he was just very happy to bend the rules equipment wise. There's stories of him sewing netting, but in his 5-hole. So he would just sew a little bit of fishing, nylon between his thighs. So he'd go down on the knees for the butterfly. And there's a little bit more there to stop the puck than you would expect. He would stuff and unstuff the pads for the NHL. You know, when they would come in and measure how thick the goalie pads were, he would unstuff it like a couch cushion. Then they would leave, and he'd unsew it, stuff the cushioning back in. This is
crazy.
And look, he was one of everybody in the league that found their little ways to lie, cheat, and steal, right? Their way through the sport. It just wasn't as policed as it is now.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't playing. Like,
yeah. And an innovator for the mask as well. You know, had the plastic like the Jason style mask, but then took some pucks to the face and was getting cut by the mask a lot. And that's when he implemented kind of like the steel bars around the eyes a little bit. So he did all this stuff himself. He made his mask, he made his blockers, like everything he wore, he made in like his garage, which is incredible. I mean, it's just so funny.
That was the era.
Like in the grand scheme of things, though, that wasn't that long ago in history. Like, just look how far hockey and sports have come in terms of equipment, and it took the players. And like we talk about Stan Mikita all the time, like accidentally curving his stick and being like, whoa, wait a minute. This is a huge advantage. These guys took it upon themselves to innovate, and then the industry sort of followed behind them. Could you imagine like some NFL linebacker in his garage? Like, I don't want to get so many concussions, and he's, you know, crafting a helmet and his you know what I mean? It's just crazy to think about. But these hockey players, it's a sport that was that was expensive to play. And guys had to find a way to be able to play even before they got to the league. You know, make yourself skates, make yourself a stick, make yourself gloves, whatever. These guys found a way, and Tony O is one of the best innovators in that department.
Well, it wasn't that long ago that players still had to get their own equipment. My dad used to take us to the original Gunzos in Forest Park in the 80s, like the Saturday before training camp started, because he knew the store would be full of Blackhawks players buying their skates and pads for the season. And that's how we met, you know, guys from the 80s. I still have a Kurt Frazier autograph somewhere that I got while he was getting measured for skates at Gunzo's. So like, and that was 35 years ago, not that long ago. Can you imagine, you know, Patrick Kane walking down to the Madison Avenue Gunzo and getting some new skates, you know, because the team isn't providing, or I should say the company isn't providing it for him anymore. It wasn't crazy. That long ago. Hey, I noticed the product placement earlier. Nice
Very
job.
nice.
They don't sponsor us though.
For those listening, I held up my BioSteel, which I tried on a whim, and it's actually pretty damn good. The new
the official drink of the NHL.
Yeah, it's
I enjoy it.
They told Gatorade to kick it.
Yes, give us those cardboard boxes. But as we're seeing in the chat, I think the biggest reason Tony Esposito is as beloved as he is not necessarily because of how great he was on the ice. He was a legitimate gentleman, an amazing guy. Everybody has a Tony Esposito story that whenever they met him, whether it was as a kid or as an adult, he was genuine and he was nice. We all have stories. I have a great story. We could share our stories, and we're seeing it in the chats. I've never met somebody that met Tony Esposito and was like, God, that guy was such a jerk to me. He was a genuine guy, and he had time for everybody. Him and Stan Mikita were cut from the same cloth.
Absolutely.
Just real guys. They didn't fake it. They wanted to meet you. They wanted to talk to you. They wanted to thank you for giving them the ability to live out their dreams. They never took it for granted. And that's part of the reason Tony Esposito is as beloved as he is to this day, is because he was a fan himself and was a fan of yours more than you were a fan of his.
Genuine is the right word for it. So in all my years at the Score, you know, Mitch would, anytime a Hawk would come around, Mitch would introduce me as, hey, this is our station's hockey guy. And he'll be like, oh, nice to meet you, whatever. Tony O, when he came in, actually was like, oh, like, how did you, like, what do you do? Like, how did you get into hockey? And like, he was like genuinely interested in what it meant for me to be the station's hockey guy. Whereas almost everybody else who's ever been introduced to me that way, they're like, oh, cool. Nice to meet you. Yeah. Which is fine. I'm not judging that at all. Like it might be pretty obvious what that means. Right. But Tony O was genuinely like, oh, how'd you get into that? Like, did you specialize in it in school? I'm like, no, you know, I've just always been a fan. Then the Hawks got good. And then I kind of raised my hand when they needed someone to do it. He's like, oh, that's funny. You know, yeah, it was bad for a while. genuinely interested in that journey, or at least pretended to be, as to how I would become
Probably
a radio
genuine.
station's hockey guy. Yeah, I was sort of like, oh, no one's really ever asked me that before, so thank you. And I'll always remember that.
I mean, before the Blackhawks had their ambassador program, he was an ambassador for the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
Like it just the way that he presented himself and yeah, just the interactions with fans. Taking the time out to at a signing be able to just talk with basically everybody who came through. And two of the pieces of memorabilia that I have that I just will absolutely treasure that you can see are missing from my beautiful display. One is this nice Tony Esposito signed hockey puck. And I say that
great signature too.
Yeah, it says Tony Esposito. You can read it.
Yeah.
Look at that. Tony. Like, yeah, it's not just a scratch and you just write, oh, number 35. Like it's a take some time to, write it out and know who the signature is. But I was at the Blackhawks store on Michigan Ave. They had a signing and went there, got a puck signed. And he asked, he said, like, hey, where are you originally from? Chicago? Where are you from? And I was like, oh no, I'm from Kenosha. And he went into this story about how I think it was in the late 70s, he and Bobby Hall did a signing at a card store in Kenosha, and he talked about like being at the store and meeting the fans and all this stuff. And it was just like, yeah, kind of like with you, Jay. He was just like, yeah, so how'd you become a Blackhawks fan? And it was just like, I was like, what is happening here? Like, it was the first time.
I'm very nervous. Please let me walk away.
Yeah, it was the first time I had ever, interacted with him at all. Only time really. And yeah, it was just really crazy to be talking with him and having a genuine conversation. And not necessarily only about the Blackhawks. Like he asked me about, growing up in Kenosha and his memories of going there for the signing and like where they went to lunch. It was just really cool. And the other thing that I got signed there was a big picture of himself. And I got it signed to my dad to reciprocate my dad when I was younger, giving me his Tony Esposito signed photo from I don't know the exact year, but this is old. This is from the 70s, and there's the very legible Tony Esposito signature to Jim. That's my dad. And so I remember my dad giving me this when I was really young, probably around the same time I was like getting into hockey. So this is probably when I was like 8-9 years old. And what's really cool here is it's funny, really. You see on the photo the very carefully airbrushed out Blackhawks logos off of his uniform, because I'm sure this was not an officially licensed photo that was signed by Tony. But
that reminds.
That's pretty cool there.
That reminds me of, Jay probably remembers this. Mario probably a wee too young, but remember when you used to get baseball cards in cereal boxes?
Mm-hmm.
And
I remember that.
The hats were always blank because they didn't have the rights. So it was just the player's name, not the team, and the hat was always blank because they didn't have the rights to the actual team logos. I think like Post cereal used to always have the baseball cards.
I used to have cards like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what that.
And now isn't something now there is one, as maybe Upper Deck is the only card company that can publish logos now. I feel like someone, yes.
There's one company. There's one company that has like the licensing, and Upper Deck sounds like that's what it is.
It's whichever one it is. So now Topps baseball cards, the hats and the jerseys don't have logos on them.
That's lame.
It's terrible.
Crazy.
The other thing like that too is in this year's version of MLB The Show, if you play Diamond Dynasty, they didn't have time to replace the Indians jerseys with Guardians on the digital cards. So all the Cleveland players have just blank white jerseys, not in the game, but on like the collectible cards you use for the Diamond Dynasty.
Interesting.
I think they've updated some of like the bigger players, like as the year goes on, they release new ones, but some of like the like middle reliever types.
Is Ricky Vaughn in a Guardians jersey yet? Is he still around?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
No, I've got a Tony Esposito story that falls in line with what we've been saying. When Rocky Wirtz wrote his book 4 or 5 years ago, whatever that was, Tony Esposito wrote the foreword. And at my previous job at the Hockey Writers, the publisher reached out and asked if someone wanted to do a review of the book. Being the Blackhawks guy, I volunteered, and I got to interview both Rocky Wirtz and Tony Esposito for the article.
I remember that.
Book. And the Rocky Wirtz interview was, it was about what you expect. And then, but the Tony Esposito interview, I called him and we talked about the Wirtz family and the book for like 15 minutes. And I was on the phone with him for over an hour because I mentioned in passing during a follow-up question or something that I was doing scouting at the time. And that literally led to a 45-minute conversation. He wanted to know who I was scouting for. He wanted to know what kind of players I was looking for. Who's the best 16-year-old in the country right now? He even mentioned to me, my brother Phil used to do a lot of scouting. Like, I didn't know that. Like, it was so, like,
about this
Phil, you have
character.
a brother? Who's this Phil guy? I wish the Blackhawks once had him. Literally talked to me for over 45 minutes about me and what I was trying to do after we had done the interview for the book. It was so surreal. Like, I was expecting to talk to the guy for 10 minutes, and like when I hung up the phone and I looked, it said like 73-minute call, and I was like, this was the coolest thing ever. Like, and I had him on speakerphone. I was recording the conversation, and I still have the audio file saved. I'm never going to delete that.
Oh,
one.
yeah.
So it was so cool.
Not at all.
So yeah, that was and that falls in line with pretty much everybody else's story. Tony Esposito never wanted to talk about himself. He wanted to talk to you, some guy he literally met 8 seconds ago. He wanted to learn about everything you're doing and why. And that was just his personality, just who he was. He was like everybody's grandpa.
Yeah, we've got a question from Nate in the chat. Says, for those of us that never got to see him play, is there a modern player comp to Tony? I never got to see him play either. But like I said earlier, the butterfly style, he was one of the early innovators. So you'll see shades of Tony Esposito in most goalies in the league right now, right?
Yeah, that influence, yeah.
Yep, solid positionally. Obviously with the butterfly and the fishnets between his legs, pretty solid in the 5-hole division.
Mm-hmm.
But good glove hand. A lot of the highlights of him are, for a guy from that era, making a lot of like highlight reel modern style, like with flair, the glove save and things like that. Like, he was
Marc-Andre Fleury special.
Yeah, he was not just a not just a big body in the net that was strong positionally. He also had, from what I understand, the reflexes and the ability to make some pretty highlight reel saves. So, I mean, look, every goalie in the league right now, owes a debt of gratitude to Tony O and Vladislav Tretiak and Jacques Plante and all those that use the butterfly to start. And I mean, like, Patrick Waugh is the king of the butterfly. It's just, it has become the most effective style of goaltending. And I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon, because you're basically taking away the lower 75% of the net just by being in, position and in that, butterfly, I guess you'd call it a pose or a stance. There's a reason it's been effective for as long as it's been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to make a direct comparison to a player today because the game has evolved, especially that position has evolved so much. But as you mentioned it, he was an innovator of the style that pretty much every goalie uses right now. So you can pretty much say, he's the modern goaltending started with Tony Esposito and Plach and Tretiak, those guys. But to say like he's exactly like, Andrei Vasilevsky, that's not, you can't really make that comparison now just because of the way the game has changed since then.
I kind of liked your Fleury comp was interesting to me. That seems kind of similar. I would say Fleury maybe was a little more acrobatic, especially in his prime, than what I know about Esposito. But
Fleury could sometimes look like a 70s goalie when he's just kind of flailing out there trying to make the save at all costs. Yeah. Sometimes they'll do that. So yeah, I think that's pretty good. That's a pretty
there you
good
go.
comparison.
All right. I just came up with that. Nicely done. All right.
Nice. And both from the Montreal area. So
yeah.
We got our play of the week. Our PointsBet play of the week is today.
Hold
and
on. I'm sorry.
Uh-oh.
Not from Montreal. Sault Ste. Marie.
Yeah, he's an Ontario boy. He's one of John Terry's people.
Played for Montreal. My fault.
That counts.
I needed to reference my old 1970s
See
card here to make sure.
Who
I
needs the
right.
interwebs when you got a 1970s Tony Esposito autograph?
Very, very conveniently sized. You can keep that in your pocket there. That's perfect. Go ahead, Jay. I'm sorry.
No, it's PointsBet play of the week, and Greg is the maestro of the play of the week. So I know he is perusing the PointsBet app right now. And if you want to peruse the app yourself, download it. Use that promo code CHGO when you sign up, and your first two bets will be risk free up to $2,000.
I think I'm going to defer this week to Mario. Mario volunteered, I believe, earlier. Since I'm really good at coming so close but missing, I'm going to let Mario try his hand of maybe actually winning one of these.
All right, fair enough.
We'll see. So the Cubs tonight are at the Cincinnati Reds. Nick Lodolo against Drew Smiley on the mound.
Field of Dreams game.
Field of Dreams game.
That's going to bring in the national audience. Oh boy, can't wait for that pitching matchup.
So I am. I'm going to go a little exotic here with this bet because let's make it interesting, right? It's an interesting game. Make it interesting. We're going to go with the 3-way money line through the first 3 innings. We're going to put it on the Cubs at plus 140. So there is your PointsBet pick of the week for tonight's Cubs-Reds game. Field of Dreams, first 3 innings, picking the Cubs to have the lead at that point.
Love it. All right, download the PointsBet app. Use that promo code CHGO when you do, and you'll get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. And with the $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll get that free CHGO membership. Speaking of CHGO, join allchgo.com, become a member. Make sure you smash the like button if you're watching us on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, podmachine.org. Whatever it is, wherever fine podcasts are produced, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Do us a solid and do that.
I'm going to look up podmachine.org right now.
I guarantee you Pod Machine exists in some way.
And if it's not a domain that exists, I am buying it.
Lock it up. Yeah, there you go.
Site cannot be reached.
Damn it.
Did you try .net?
No, you know what? I think I just crashed it. So many people are listening and wanting to subscribe to our podcast that it just crashed. That's the only explanation.
Yes.
Podmachine.org available as well. So
see?
All
right, let's jump on that.
The original Pod Machine.
We need to get that site, and then when people click on it, it automatically goes to the CHGO membership sign-up page.
Boom.
I love it.
There
See,
you are.
Now you're thinking with your head.
Not just a hat rack.
Yes, exactly. So do us all those favors, please. It's very, very helpful when you do. A little bit of news. Robin Lehner of the Golden Knights out for the season with a hip injury. So the hits keep coming for the Knights, which I know just really upsets
surgery. Oof, hip surgery.
That's not good for a goalie. I'm no goaltending expert, but I think you kind of need to have some flexible hips to play that position.
Yeah, that's tough.
You hate to see it. You really do. I mean, I'm not gloating because Robert Leonard is hurt, but anytime something bad happens to the Vegas Golden Knights, it puts a smile on my face. And but obviously, I'm not rooting for an injury to Robert Leonard, who was well liked when he was here in Chicago. But as we're seeing, maybe not giving him that long-term deal was the best move. Hindsight being 2020, as it always is.
Of course.
Good job, Stan Bowman.
That's $3.
$3.
That's right. There's another $1 for
my gosh.
For our board ads.
$3.
Lawrence, when we get off the air, can you do us a favor? Can you write down on a piece of paper J owes $3 and throw it in the jar so we don't?
I'm way ahead of you.
Oh,
there you go.
This is why
I got
a running total.
I gotta update it now. I mean,
this is why you are who you are, and you make us who we are. Lawrence is always on the ball.
All right, and the other bit of news.
Michael here in the chat says, he himself just had hip surgery. It took 8 months to recover. Still not fully the same. So, oof.
Can you still get in the butterfly, Michael? That's the question.
I don't know.
Yeah, this could be one of those Robin Leonard doesn't play anymore sort of things, and I hope it's not, because he is, if nothing else, he is entertaining as hell.
I mean, he's a good goalie.
Yeah,
he's not bad. It's just, people sometimes have been rubbed the wrong way by him. But
Well, he's a
yeah,
hockey player that speaks his mind, and we know how that goes.
Yeah, not well most times.
Yeah. So, all right. We also want to take a second to acknowledge a lot of people reached out to us yesterday. I know this is not a household name for everybody that is watching the podcast right now, but Ben Stelter is the little Oilers fan who was battling brain cancer and was a big part of the Oilers Stanley Cup run over the last year, and he passed away yesterday. So, statement from his father, Mike. It literally just jumped away from me as I said that. Hold on, jeez.
We have the we got.
Thank you.
The tweet up here.
Yeah, the world lost the most special boy and an absolute hero last night. Ben, you were the best son we could ever hope for, and you were my best bud ever. Your sisters were so lucky to have you as such a sweet brother. You fought so long and so hard and beat so many odds. And there's pictures of him here with Connor McDavid and his family at various Oilers games. So I just wanted to say this is very sad. And we were talking kind of off the air about this. And whenever you see a kid in this situation, you know the ending is usually soon and usually very sad. But I think we spent a lot of time on this episode being critical of hockey for various things. And I think they do the Oilers, what they did for Ben when he was dealing with this is remarkable. Taking him on the ice, letting him in the locker room, truly making him as much of a part of the team as they could do to help those last few months of his life be as memorable as they possibly could. So well done, Edmonton Oilers. Well done, NHL, they've gone out of their way to put their own tributes out for him. And we've seen, throughout the years, like when stories like this happen, I think too, last year, this is not really the same thing, but the Kraken fan who spotted the cancer on the neck of the Kraken's coach. And the NHL did a really good job of highlighting that story. And if you want to be cynical and say, this is a really easy thing for the league to do, and it's something they're just trying to look good doing, whatever. The right thing was done. And for that story and for Ben, we're showing the video here on YouTube of him and Connor McDavid's relationship, which is obviously very special to both of them. Very, very cool. Very well done, Oilers. Very well done, NHL. And rest in peace, Ben. It's just really sad. And as a parent, this is the sort of thing that you dread and have nightmares about. And hopefully for Ben, the last few months of his life were filled with happy memories. And the suffering he went through was made a little bit easier by Connor McDavid and his Oilers teammates. So
yeah,
just want to take a minute and acknowledge that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's tough. And 6 years old. So it's, good on the Oilers to do that for Ben and his family and to provide them with those memories and those stories and that support. And this was much more than an Oilers thing.
Yeah.
This became a hockey world thing. And you see the outpouring of love across the league for Ben and his family, and it's tough. It's tough. So yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely heartbreaking, and kudos to the Oilers for doing everything they did to, even if it was for a brief moment, that you were able to give Ben and his family a reprieve and make them feel like things are okay, even if it's for just a few seconds. Then it was all worth it, regardless of what people, if you want to be cynical and say it's just a PR push, it doesn't matter, because you put smiles on the face of a child that was fighting a losing battle. And I can't imagine, I'm not a parent, I can't imagine what it's like to go through this. I've had to go through the loss of two very important people in my life, my father and my partner, of over 10 years, and to just sit there with no control and feel helpless while you watch something like this happen, it's the absolute worst. I would not wish it on my worst enemy. I can't even imagine what that is like for your child. And it's heartbreaking. And my heart goes to the entire family. And just, and anybody who's going through something like this. It's just brutal. And it's just, I can't imagine what it's like. So,
the reason the tweet jumped, and you may have heard the audio pop up. I actually hit the sound bar. Connor McDavid, Zach Hyman, and Jay Woodcroft are literally doing a press conference about Ben as we speak.
Oh, wow,
and I was just sort of looking at that video to see, like, is this happening now? Is it already recorded? And that's, if you heard those voices, that's what that was. And Connor McDavid clearly very, very shaken up, and it's just it's something for the biggest name in hockey to go out today and say, I need to talk about this. It's good.
Yeah.
And I think McDavid's a guy who a lot of people, and we joke about it too, like, not the most exhilarating personality in the NHL, but made a really big impact on Ben's life. And I know Connor would probably say that Ben did the same for him. So anyway, I think that's a really good spot to end the show today. Tomorrow, Friday, we are audio only. We're going to record around 11 o'clock. So look for the episode to come out around 12:30 or so. We are going to talk about, as of now, unless some big news breaks, the development plan for Lucas Reichel. Earlier this week, Scott Powers wrote a little Q&A piece for The Athletic and mentioned that the organizational plan for now is for Lucas Reichel to start the season in Rockford. Is that the best thing to do? We will discuss that and much more tomorrow on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.